Well, a little spot of tea here with
Cheers.
Darren Marshall here at Smith Tea. You and I have become friends over the past year or two, and I'm sure you'll tell a brief story of Stephen Smith, but you're the CEO here, and you just gave me a tour, and I'm a huge tea fan. I don't drink coffee. Huge Stephen Smith fan, and what you've done is incredible. I had our first office building was over on 16th and Thurman, right across from where you used to be.
Yep.
And now you're on 110 Southeast Washington here in Central East Side, and do you call it a factory? It smells so good.
Tea Works.
A Tea Works. Okay,
Yeah.
It's incredible here, and so just talk really briefly. Like, pandemic was brutal, but you doubled down on the business, and then also the neighborhood in kind of a tough spot in Portland.
Yeah. So Stephen Smith, our founder, founded Stash in the 70s, founded Tazo a couple blocks from here in the 90s, and founded Smith, his namesake brand, in 2009. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2015. There's deep Portland roots in our business. Our business is very much inspired by the creativity, by our landscape, by nature, and all of the things that come together to create beautiful, delicious craft, which Portland is so well known for. Our business has been really fortunate. Since I've been here, we've increased the size of our business 5 times, from something small to something sort of mid-size, and we're absolutely committed to being here because it's our history and we want it to be our future.
And 100 jobs here, right?
Yeah, well, we have 100 employees now with our company, 100 families that we're supporting, making America's fastest growing tea company is here, and it's 100 Portland families that are making that happen.
Yeah, in downtown Portland, which is awesome.
Yeah, we're committed, and what that means is during times like the pandemic, for example, we didn't close for a day. We were open every minute through the pandemic. We transformed our business. That crisis in the world forced us to think about things differently. If we were to save the business, then we had to do things in a really different way. And having people who were committed and flexible to making something special, something that can enrich people's lives, one exceptional tea experience at a time. That's really important. And we had the people here in Portland, in this neighborhood in Southeast Portland, to make it happen.
Yeah. So like we talked about before this, my video series around We Believe this year is really focused on the premise that Portlanders doing hard things is a big part of getting our city back on track, which it's been back on track and on the rise for, in my opinion, at least 12 to 18 months. But we've been through really hard things. We can't be too Pollyanna. That's a natural thing for me to be annoyingly optimistic, which I will still be. But I think it's important to acknowledge, especially in this neighborhood, it's been hard to stay. Like, a few folks haven't stayed, and especially manufacturing, all that. Can you give an example, whether it's you or something related to the business and the community, of a hard thing that you did or that a Portlander did?
Yeah, it would have been really easy to move and to do something different, to move someplace where there's less encampments on sidewalks, where there's less open fires. We decided to stay and to double down and to protect our people and to create an environment without disruption that allowed us to be able to continue to grow, which meant making investments in automations you saw
Yeah.
earlier today, or adding additional shifts and people and processes and equipment to be able to double our business a few times.
Yeah.
It's just hard work. It's not impossible, but is the juice worth the squeeze? And we think it is, because this neighborhood and this community is really important.
Yeah.
It's also interesting that we talk about the negatives of Portland, but there's also a lot of positives about Portland, not just the environment and the people who live here. An example of that, we have a lot of open fires because of encampments that might be around us, and sometimes those open fires spread. So we had a dumpster fire, another dumpster fire just recently.
It's not just a business expression like, oh, that's a dumpster.
No.
Actual
It was
fire.
It was a huge fire with 9 feet of flames in a dumpster beside our building. And our building, as you've seen, is filled with tea, like a year's worth of very flammable.
Yeah.
And if that had gone up, then we would be out of business. But there was a good Samaritan. There was a guy riding his bike 2 days after Christmas at 11 p.m. Who saw the fire and pulled the dumpster with his bare hands away from flaming dumpster away from the building and called 911, and you saved our business. So on one hand, we can complain about things that are inconvenient, but on the other hand, having people who do hard things that can save others, that's what community is all about, and that's what we're committed to.
That's awesome. Well, lightning round of the personal Darren, like 1 or 2 things that you love to do in Portland, like specific things, places.
Love cycling. The best cycling in the world, I think, is right here, right in our backyard.
Yeah.
Great food, great restaurants, great producers, great wine. All of the things.
I love it. All right, thank you. Loved it.
And it's going at about a quarter of it. What percentage of speed is it? 45. Half the speed.
So this is
supports all 4 lines like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And can I get a cup of that as well?
I guess we're going to that. Easy.